everyone, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. This is Temmi. Today, like I said last week, I'm going to be chatting to some moms over the coming weeks. Moms who have children with unique learning abilities. And I'm doing this because if they're going back to school next year, there is all sorts of anxiety about what they've missed this year, how are they going to cope, at least those who didn't go to, those who are not in not just international school, in really good private schools. We know some of the kids have been left behind already. So these are moms who have had to take a journey with their children on the way they learn. What we are going to look at is we shouldn't teach children the way we want to teach them, but rather to figure out how does my child learn and then to teach that child that way. So over the coming few weeks, I'm going to be speaking with different moms. So my guest today is someone who is known nationally, internationally. She's an award winner. She's a mom. She's a God-fearing mom. She's a God-fearing wife. She is a screenwriter. She's an actress, and I'm sure some of the older folks have seen her. She's a producer, and she used to be in South Africa, but now she's talking to us all the way from Lesotho. So can we please say hello to Patronella Diericks? Did I get that right?
No.
Okay, so Patronella, you are a mom of how many children?
We've got a blended family, so it's his, hers, and ours.
Okay.
In total, we've got 4 kids.
Okay.
And I've given birth to 3.
Okay.
But funnily enough, my stepson is the one who brought my husband and I to remembrance of each other. And
okay.
It was just like, hey, I think you two need to start speaking. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so how many of your kids did you find that there was a challenge when it came to the way they learn?
Only one. Only one.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old was he or she when they started?
I think the first time that we started getting complaints from the school was when she was in primary school in grade 1, so she was about 6. Actually no, even before then, we realized that there was a problem with her eyesight, and we didn't really take it as seriously, I think, as we should have. But when she was small, she would walk into glass doors, and we thought it was just that she wasn't being careful, especially when they're very little. That's the kind of thing that little babies do.
Okay.
And then as she got older, I think she was about 6 or something, and we in grade 1, and we started ticking off challenges, and things that would potentially be impeding her learning.
Okay.
And there was a whole lot of other things happening at the time. So this was us basically being on a journey, because I'd started fighting with the school because she was being bullied at school. And they were like, but let's check her eyesight. So we took her, and then we realized that and this was an important discovery in our journey, because we realized at the time that she how the doctor explained it to me was that she had 2D vision. So and she went through a whole barrage of tests. She had surgery on her eyes to try and correct it. She had a really bad squint. It's been slightly corrected to some extent, but it's still there, and it's when she gets stressed on whatever, you'll see the eyes start to creep in together. And then the bullying escalated at school, and the teacher, when I spoke to the teacher started saying, no, she's got problems. She needs to be in a special school. Meanwhile, from her, when she would come home and she'd say, Mommy, the teacher called me stupid in class. So so I was, and then I'd go and I'd fight with the teacher again.
I was going to say, does the teacher know whose child she's dealing with? Child stupid.
But it got so bad, and it basically all came to a head. I laid a formal complaint with the school. I laid a formal complaint. We actually opened we laid criminal charges against the school.
Wow.
So I mean, it got very, very ugly. They threatened to sue me because I pulled her out of school. And I said that I'll come back there with a gun and shoot them all. So they left me alone. The school decided to then, instead of supporting the lady who's the child who was complaining about being bullied, came to the defense of the bully. And, they said, the lady doesn't pay attention in class. And this bully, who was 6 years older than her, is generally a good student. So there's obviously Naledi was lying. So we pulled her, I pulled her out of school, and we moved. And I think that was my last experience with the South African government school system, because I understood it at the time. And we're talking, I mean, she's an adult now.
Yeah.
So hopefully things have gotten better. It took a long time for us to get back into that system, let me say, because it was quite a journey.
Okay, so this is all while she was still in junior primary.
This is grade 1. This is right at the beginning of her school career.
Oh my word.
Affected the knock-on effect of that was something that laid a bad foundation for the rest of it. We moved her from that system into a small private Christian schooling system. Okay. It's the ACE system, the Accelerated Christian Education system. And the school that the kid that I put my kids in, there were, I think, 10 kids in the grade 1 class.
Okay, so small classes.
Not, and exceedingly small, because those 10 children in the grade 1 class had a teacher and a monitor and a teaching assistant.
Oh, okay.
In the class. Okay. So, she got a lot of support. Okay. She was fine for a while. I think you start to see the difference in the different systems, because, in a normal government school system, the teacher stands at the front and teaches, and you get it, you either get it or you don't.
Or you don't get it.
With this system, if you don't get it, then you start to fall further and further behind. With this system, because every child works at their own pace. So you arrive, you sit in your cubicle, and it's a proper cubicle, so there's no getting distracted to see what Mary is doing next to you. You take out your books, you set your goals for the day, and you do what you say you're going to do. The advantage of that is the really motivated students, like her older brother was doing a grade in like 3/4 of a year, and then you could move on to the next grade.
Okay.
Students who were less motivated, like her, would, she was pushing on average a year and a half to finish a grade. But she got through grade 1, she got through grade 2. Things started really slowing down, like grade 3. By grade 4, she'd moved to another school, and it was still within the ACE system, because that had been working fairly well.
Okay.
And at Sunrise, I got called in to meet with the principal, and they were saying, they're a little bit concerned because she's falling further and further behind. And the disadvantage of yes, in as much as she's eventually getting the work done, it's taking her so long to get done that she's now in a class with kids who are a good 2-3 years younger.
Oh, okay.
So we had a whole barrage of tests. We had she had an educational psychologist who came and did some tests with her at school. And for me it was fascinating, because it was where we started to understand what exactly is going on. So all of that bullying and whatever that had happened way back when had impacted her to such a way that and it was weird how it worked, because her English language and comprehension was very high,
Yeah.
but her understanding of like logical, of the harder sort of math and other things was very challenged.
Okay.
And then because in this system you do a module and you finish it. At some point she was doing like, grade 4 math, grade 5 geography and science, grade 6 English, and just about to start doing grade 7 English. And they were saying, this is not sustainable.
Working.
We can't have her working across 3-4 grades.
So the problem wasn't that she was dyslexic. I know you mentioned there was a doctor that you saw and told you about you want to tell us about the brain,
yes.
how our brain works. Yeah.
Yes. So and then we went to the so we did that first test, and then a friend of mine's is a therapist who works with children, and she does this fascinating therapy called BrainWorks, where BrainWorks, yes, where she literally can puts the kids through a test or through a series of tests, and then she's able to diagnose how the child's brain works. So it helps you in terms of or it helped us in terms of being able to chart the next step in what we needed to do with her.
Okay.
And it was interesting for me because we found with the assessment that everything was crisscrossed. How Leslie, the therapist, explained it to me was that in a normal inverted commas person, you'd have like a dominant right hand, you'd have a dominant right eye, you'd have dominant right ear, dominant right foot. And when she did all these tests with my daughter, she found that I can't remember the specifics, but it was basically a zigzag. So the right eye is dominant, the left ear is dominant, the right hand is dominant, the left foot is dominant. So across her body, everything was crisscrossed, which meant it made it a little bit more difficult for her to understand certain concepts and unpack them and make sense of them in a way that the rest of the world
makes sense. Yeah. Did she have any problem with her ears, with hearing?
No.
None.
None. We tested the hearing, none. So it was weird. But I mean, and it was also interesting for me because I've got a dominant left ear. I'm right-handed. I've got a dominant left foot. But I think it also had to do with with our circumstances. I was raised by a fairly negligent mother, so for me, reading and education became a way for me to focus and bring myself together. Okay. So, however it is, I managed to find the tools I needed to be able to push ahead. And I don't know if also people are different, but I think with her, because we had a lot of support around her, was it also me overcompensating that made her not be able to develop the same tools?
So you were blaming yourself at one point, or was that in hindsight?
Even now, with hindsight, even now.
You think if you had left her to her own devices, she would have found a way to cope like you did?
No.
So why are you blaming yourself? What is the blame for?
Because I'm a mother.
So you feel I could have done something.
I feel like I could have done something, and I think the frustrating thing for a lot of us is that these things cost a lot of money. So the assessments cost a lot of money. And I was a single mom. I was divorced. I was a single mom. For the most part, my first husband was not involved in raising the children. He rarely would give me maintenance money, so he was not there. So when you're faced with school fees isn't paid, but the child needs an assessment, pay the school fees because she can still keep going to school, and we'll try and see where we can make it up, when we make it up. So it really took me a long time to be able to get the money to do all of these things that needed to be done.
So was it covered by medical aid?
Sorry?
Was it covered by medical aid? The things you needed to do?
No. Oh. And I had a good medical aid. But these weren't. It's educational assessments. So it wasn't taken to be medical. At one stage, I was recommended to see a pediatric neurosurgeon, but my medical aid wouldn't even cover that. They said
there's so many parts of this. I'm just thinking there's so many parts of this. If something is educational, which the way it's coming out now, obviously has to do with mental capacity, right, or abilities. How can that not be medical? Oh, medical aid is a whole long story on its own. Okay.
Yeah, we need another series for that.
It's another series entirely. So, what path did you finally find that helped you or helped her to get to where she is now?
So, we reached a point where we had to remove her from Sunrise when she was about 14 going on 15.
Okay.
And we basically finished the school year, and I found a teacher, Ashton, who specializes in teaching children with learning disabilities. Started speaking to her. I was referred to a school by the Gauteng Education Department, Panorama, but Panorama was down the road from Sunrise, where she had been going to school. And the kids there were rough. We went there, and the school, it looked like a decent school, but the kids there were exceedingly rough. They'd walk past the school, and they'd be drunk, they'd be high, they'd be
At what age is this?
It was a high school.
Okay.
It was a high school.
Okay.
So when you're thinking that your kids have been in this very protected Christian school environment for however long, by then it had been a good 5, 6, 7 years or so.
Okay.
And then you're taking them out and putting them in that kind of environment. I saw it ending very badly. I think I did an internet search. I found Crossroads in Alberton. I think it was in a school in Alberton. Spoke to them, took her in for an assessment. She spent a full day at the school. At the end of the day, she was feeling a lot more confident. And I think 2 weeks or something before she was supposed to go to school, for whatever reason, I think it was God, I hadn't bought the uniform. I get a call from the school saying that they've reviewed her assessment, her tests again, and they think she's going to be too much work, so they will not take her. So basically, they withdrew the place they'd offered her. So then I went back to Ashton again, and I said, well, this is where we are now. Do you have a solution for her? And Ashton was interesting because she said, okay, what do you guys want for her? Do you want her to just carry on with school until she's 18? Just basically be learning something and be kept busy until she's 18, okay. And then she's sort of an adult and she must figure it out herself, or are you looking for like a high school leaving certificate? What do you want? I think the goal for us was always some sort of a high school leaving certificate, because it's so hard to do anything these days if you don't have that.
That's it, yeah.
So she started doing a system, which for the life of me I cannot remember. But it had we registered with it, and there were books and whatever, and she started doing that. And then Ashton, some of the other kids, some of the slightly older kids at Ashton's school, there were five or six of them, I think 2 of the older kids started doing the GED program.
Okay.
And they were really enjoying that. And when she started seeing how well that was going, we were given that as an option.
Okay.
The great thing about GED is it's basically you get the high school leaving certificate. You get your high school diploma.
Certificate, yeah.
Yeah. And it's, what is it? It's English, math, science. I'm trying to look at the book.
You're looking at it up there.
Yes, English, math, science. I think there's a written English, essay or whatever. So there's like 5 subjects.
Okay.
And I think humanities or something. And it was the great thing about it is if you're focused, it's all online. There are books and things that you can order on Amazon or wherever to support you. You do your tests at, I think the one time she registered it was at Boston in Orange Grove, where she went and she did the 2 tests. And if you're focused with it, you can actually do the exercises online. If you put in 4 or 5 hours a day, within 6 months, you'll have completed all the modules, you can do the tests, and you get your high school diploma.
Oh, great.
But we had challenges even there because while I was at work, doing my work, Madam would sit watching Chris Brown videos or whatever
it is. Oh dear. Online learning requires a lot of discipline. Even for adults, it requires a lot of discipline.
I know. There's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's Instagram,
there's too many distractions. Too many.
I know, So we did that, and then I got her a tutor. She did that with Ashton for a while, and then we moved from Johannesburg to here, which is when we started having the problems with the online learning. Found her a tutor for a while, and then the tutor got offered a job in one of the universities, so she left us. And then, just by chance, we were living in Ladybrand at the time, which is a little town in the Free State, and doing the daily commute to work in Lesotho, in Maseru. And a friend of mine's niece, we bumped into her with my friend's mother, and she said, "Oh no, but this one just graduated last year from the School of Skills in Ladybrand, and it's actually a decent school." So I went there to see them. They had a great principal, met with the principal, met with I think it's the head of that section of the school. So what they've done in Ladybrand is Ladybrand Primary and the School of Skills, which goes from grade 7 up to grade 10, are on one campus. Okay. So she slotted in there. She actually just made it before her cutoff for getting back into the government school system, and the educational people from Free State Education, I found them to be a lot more helpful than the ones in Johannesburg. They came to the school, they reviewed all the documentation, they because of the we were facing such a tight deadline with her. They what they normally do is they rotate around the small towns, but because of the deadline, they came immediately. They met with the school. They looked at all the documentation that I had for her. Thankfully, they said she doesn't need any more tests, which would have had to come out of my pocket. And they enrolled her in the school, and something happened. Naledi just got there, and I basically told her that, listen, Chica, this is your last opportunity. If you're not going to sit this out and push with the school and get this high school, leaving certificate this way, then you really are on your own. Because I don't know what I can do anymore. And she got it. She ran with it. She did very well. She graduated last year. She was in the top 5 in the top 5 of class. She was head the what is it, the head girl or whatever of the head prefect.
Mm-hmm.
So she did very, very well.
That's
We were
good.
very
That's
proud.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's she's done well when you bump into teachers and whatever at the spa, and they're saying, oh, where's that lady? Oh, we miss her. Oh, wish she could come back.
So
She
your
was
journey has been
looking.
fruitful. In the end, you got what you
Yeah,
wanted.
it
And we
was.
shouldn't,
Right.
from what you're saying, even though you didn't get any joy from the Gauteng education system, we shouldn't give up, because when you did get to Limpopo, or where is it, Free State?
Lady Brand in the Free State. Yeah.
Okay, so you had the help that you needed there.
Yes.
And I may be wrong, but do you think also that with age, our emotional intelligence also improved? Because then she can, something that maybe had been a block, or she couldn't figure it out before, but maybe she did develop those skills that you don't think she did. Maybe she did develop those skills to be able to sort this out.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah,
What do you think?
I think so, because I mean, at the end of the day, also the child needs to want to succeed. And if you're working with a child who doesn't want to, who doesn't think this is important, and you can't make them understand the importance of what they're doing, then you're going to have a problem, and you're not going to get anywhere.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm very grateful that eventually it clicked for her, and she started seeing the importance of it. I think where we are now is, well, COVID happened. I think she's very glad COVID happened.
Yeah.
Because her thing was always she wants to take a gap year, and I had been pushing her to. You've had enough gap periods in your life, my lady.
So it's a gap year now. She has a gap year now.
Now we're calling this a gap year. So y'all throughout the world can thank her for being stuck at home in lockdown. She prayed a mighty prayer and God took the plague.
Oh dear. Yeah, this year has been, we've all had a gap year this year, whether we wanted it or not. One thing that I would say I give you a lot of credit for, and I'm saying this from a point of when I used to be a teacher. There are parents who, when you hear that, I mean, nobody wants to hear it. When you hear that your child has a challenge in anything, you don't want to hear anything negative from the teacher. But I've seen the difference with parents who say, okay, what do we need to do? And they get on board. And then I've seen the parents who say, there is nothing wrong with my child. And instead of helping that child move ahead, the child is just left there. The child just stalls. What would you say to parents? Now you've got kids. For me, all children are normal. We've all got, when it comes to learning, maybe because of my Montessori background, we know that kids learn at different pace, and they learn different. Even adults. I mean, if I sit down to a lecture, you give me 30 minutes. I think I've tried. My mind is gone somewhere else. But if it's visual, then I'm going to sit through it, because I like my movies, I like my videos. I will sit and watch it. So even adults, well, I'm saying even adults, when we're young, we don't know how we learn. I think that's the thing. So with all your kids now, what would you say to parents who might be having a challenge with their children? Because like I said, next year, well, you think we've had, this year you think we've been doing homeschooling. You're going to do a whole lot more homeschooling next year, because your child is going to put it to a higher grade. You might or might not have been able to figure out what this grade was this year, because 6 months is gone. So parents are going to be doing a lot. So what would you say to parents having kids on both sides? You have a child that has, and I would say because past tense now, you have to do this journey with her, and then you've got your other kids. What would you say to parents?
Look, you have to push, and you have to, don't be afraid to ask for help. I think once I started just being more open about it, that I'm having this challenge, I don't know what to do, help. Post it on Facebook. If you've got the kinds of friends, if you've got proper friends on Facebook, they will tag other people, tag educators, tag people who can help you, and reach out to you. If those aren't the kinds of people you have as your Facebook friends and family, then you need to delete everyone and start afresh. Really. speak to, speak to the school, speak to the teacher. If your teacher, if and listen to what your child is saying. If your child is saying that the teacher is calling me stupid, the teacher probably is calling you the child stupid. They'll come and deny it to your face, but what is happening in that class, you're not there. So listen to your child. Pay attention to what they're saying. If your child is desperately unhappy at school or with a situation, remove them from that school. I don't care if it's the best school wherever or if it's the cheapest school wherever. Remove them from the school and find another plan. And there are plenty of plans to be found. There are options. There are options. Look at different schooling systems, because I think the great thing with South Africa is there's so many different ways and methods of putting your kids through school.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing that's also been of great encouragement to me is, when we moved down this side, just completely by chance, I found this one. She was a math tutor that my daughter started having sessions with. I think she did math and English with her, and she was quite interesting because 3 days a week she used to drive across the border to Ladybrand, and she would stay for 3 days 3 nights with a family that owned a farm there, and she would teach their 6 kids. And those 6 kids were being homeschooled. So they had access to a teacher for 3 days a week. And we became quite good friends with that family. So it was quite interesting for us to, go and spend time with them and see how, their mom, who was this, and I want to say a crazy farmer, because, she would be up at 3 a.m. at lambing season to go and help her sheep give birth to 100 lambs, and then be there to open the church, and we'd run church and whatever, and she's baked and made lunch and whatever, and I'm thinking, I don't know how you do it. And the kid says, no, you don't understand. Until we started coming in contact with other children, we worked a 7-day week, 365 days a year. They get Christmas off and Christmas Day off and Easter Sunday off.
Oh, wow.
And Resurrection Sunday off, because the rest of the time the mother says, no, but I work even on Christmas. I still have to go and feed the animals and so what's your problem?
Oh dear.
It instills a different sort of work ethic. I think also the big thing for my daughter was getting her involved in art. She had art classes and she was doing drama. And I think providing them with that outlet for creativity also does something. And I don't know if you're aware, but in the US at least, STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, is now being called, they're converting it to STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts and math.
Arts and math, yeah.
Arts and math. Because there's something about that creative process that you learn when you're doing music or art or drama or whatever, which our people have never quite understood. I mean, I'm an artist by profession, and my father told me I was crazy. I'd never be able to make it. But there's something about it that gives you other skills, that allows you to that helps you, with your math. It supports the math. It supports the science. It supports the logical thinking. And I think, I think possibly if I look back at her full journey, the missing key was when she started doing the arts.
I know that, I've read about it, that when you're pregnant, you should you should play classical music.
Yes.
You play classical music. And even for your child, it helps them with their brain somehow. And also, I know as a teacher, one of the things that I'd read, and to do maths, for example, as first lesson, there's something with the brain in the morning, and it's easier to grasp math concepts. So, so little bit things that one comes across, and you might think, this is not really going to work. But I can understand why art will help a child. When you're drawing, I cannot paint or draw for my life. You look, if you look at some painting, you think, how did that person how are they able to use their paintbrush to gauge, because they make it like a 3D. You're looking at this painting. It's a painting. It's not a photo. Somebody actually, but they get the 3D effect there. You see the orange or whatever it is, and you can actually almost feel the weight. You can see that it's not a circle. It's a solid. It looks like a solid object when you're looking at it. So it's got to be something in your brain. I can't do it. So I don't know. Am I learning with my left brain or right brain? I have no idea. But it's very rewarding as a mom and as an educator to hear that you've gone through all this pace with your child, every step of the way you've been there with her, and to actually see the fruit at the end of it. I'm sure at one point she also must have been frustrated. Like, why are they laughing at me, for example? I just said something that in my brain sounds right. I've just done something that to me, it feels correct. So what are they laughing at? And the older a child gets, even if they're not able to see things the way we are, the other people, the normal people are seeing them, their feelings are hurt, their emotions get involved, and they can shut down. So if the parent is not there every step of the way, and whereas, I'm not saying they're stupid, because not only teachers that do that, even the parents, some parents do it. How can you be so stupid? How can you not understand this? Your brother can do this, and that comparison, begin to compare the children. Oh man, instead of helping the child, just because afterwards, why bother?
Why bother?
Why bother? So I'm really happy to hear that all well that ends well. That's it, all that ends well. And thank you for chatting with me. I will look at, I'll put there, for those who are watching, I'll put the STEM and the STED links, and I will try and speak to Ashton and see if she'll come and chat with us as well, because we just need this. And one thing that you said that I think most parents are embarrassed to do is ask for help, because you think, I don't want people now to say my child is stupid, or I don't want people to know that my child doesn't know this. And sometimes we push the children as well. I was speaking to someone recently, and they said, I came to my child's school and I told them to bring him down to a lower grade. And I think at a certain age, yes, it's not nice to repeat the grade, but they don't really, the effect is not as bad. And if the child repeats that grade at that young age, then you just make this foundation even more solid, and then they go on. But when we push our kids, just push, all the cousins are in grade this, so my child also has to be in grade X. You can't compare the children. You can't compare the children. We
need to stop comparing.
You can't.
We need to just stop comparing.
Yeah, we just have to be there as moms, as dads, and just know we're on this journey together. And I think that helps. I found that when a parent is involved, like you have PTA or whatever, and the parent comes, you can see the children like, my mom is here, my dad is here. You know you're there for them. Yes, it's there, and they're looking at you. Have you seen my mom? Have you seen my dad? And when you are there for your child, no matter what age it is that the child is, when you're there for them, it does something for their morale. It does something even in their brain that, yes, I'm not alone in this journey. Mom is there with me. Dad is there supporting me. I can do it. I can do it. Thank you, Patronella. I say your hair is going through another transformation now. Yeah, I think I need to do a series on you alone, the journey with your hair. It's going. It's going to different transformations. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
Bye.